feedback from your organizations, mine as well. But I think if we are talking about projection, what are we going to do, prospects? I was thinking of 3 questions that each IO leader or co-leader, because I don't know who is online, who is here, but we can all ask anyway. I was thinking of 3 main questions. What have you identified as an important point that still needs to be tackled? That would be interesting to go into this topic more deeply, that we haven't still, I mean, nothing is never finished, but you know, maybe we have identified new elements that would be interesting to go into more details. What would be really important to continue? Benefits, because we see that it's, for example, well, I have some idea, but I'm going to speak first. What are the plans for next year? I mentioned in the morning that we could test the deliverables. So I would like to know in each university what you're planning to do or not doing, and at which scale. Would it be with a few students, with a whole lot of students? What would be the difficulties that you think you would have to test? So we need to identify these elements so that we can go ahead. I'm going beyond the project, I mean, finalization, because we don't need to deal with that before to feedback to the financing of the project for the final report. But it's useful. So as we're here, I think it would be good to deal with that. And what else can we do? Have we identified new things that would be useful to promote students lifelong and lifelong language learning? Because we have started from the elements we all know, but maybe we have identified new elements. So, I mean, you can choose just one question. I'm not going to go in IO one by one, and this, unless you prefer to do so with numbers. Otherwise, who wants to speak first can. So, what have we identified? Maybe it's better to speak per IO as important, as new, or as still, I would say, critical or maybe difficult. I don't know how we can call that. Which means it requires to deepen, to go into deeper reflection about the topic. Let's start with this first question. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, just to go up.
Thank you. So for the first section, we had a very interesting presentation from Japan about appliances of artificial intelligence that are used and could be used in language learning environment and also students' attitudes towards those tools. And also there is a certain degree dissatisfaction with the results expressed by students. We did not have the second presenter, but my presentation revealed, at least to our working group, the optimistic attitude to using different online appliances and the openness of language teachers to acquire digital skills. The fact is that there are diverse, numerous, massive attempts to educate teachers for a short time or for a very specific appliance or for some very specific use of teaching languages, but there is no consistent approach, and this is, I think, a very old tradition. And also what we realized is that we were researching a very particular period, which was very much COVID affected. So therefore, it would be very interesting to use already created tools by this project and to retry them in different environments with different people. And the project gave us a lot of internationally approved tools such as questionnaire, for instance.
And have you got plans to do so in your universities? Because, well, we are approaching summer holidays, summer break soon, Monday. And if we want to start right from the first semester next year, or maybe we want to wait, but I mean, the sooner we test, the easier it will be to have the results. So, do you have you thought about that? Of a particular group of students or a year of studies?
For what? Sorry.
To test our tools. I mean, to test, to use our tools, but it will be a test because.
I think, I don't know how other people feel the project partners, but I feel that most of us are going to use, if not everything, but for sure some details or some things which are really applicable in this situation. I'm going to use certain activities. So I think each of us is going to do. I don't know how extensively it will be possible because we have like huge projects, but okay, yeah, for sure. I would say yes. I don't know, maybe my colleagues do agree with me. That yes, we are going to do this.
For me, it would be very, important if you would like to continue to add, for example, for the games, more games which are more complex and related to global challenges like apartheid, for example, to climate, to artificial intelligences, and because for me, our prototype at the moment too much reduced about searching or guessing or of vocabulary and lexic. And I think would be interesting for me to extend this digital autonomy to social and challenges. And also to keep the principle that the learner is an actor of his education, of his own education, because it's one of the key for me that they are more involved, more engaged in this learning process.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's interesting what you're saying, because related to social challenges, because first, I suppose there will be finance for that, because we know that the social challenges that you identified, Planet and IA, are topics that have some finances nowadays. So we need to see how we can relate to that, if it's just thematic or if it's something else. And yeah, you're maybe moving from, we started from autonomy, from informally moving to more social challenges. We're coming from inclusion, the term was inclusion. I think maybe this is maybe not anymore most, I mean, it is still needed. I'm not saying it's not needed, but it is sort of in process. Yes. I think this is not anymore a topic that is not known. We know we need to deal with it. So maybe what is new is these two topics. I don't know if you agree.
I wanted to say something about social challenges. So I'm going to talk especially about IO4. I was thinking that it would be very interesting to make partnerships with firms. So yes, so as to know what their needs are, considering foreign language learning, and so partnership. I think you see what I mean. So okay, social challenges. Are we going to go through the 4 IOs then? Because I have other things to say, but maybe
we can have first a general note about the, as we have launched a discussion about more general topics. Yes. Maybe we can start. We move to something more general about what would be the focus, and maybe then we can see IO per IO. But for the moment, maybe we can continue on these social challenges, employability, or professional challenges, if I can rephrase what you're saying, which is of course very, I mean, this is one of the questions that we have asked about the badges. Who for? I mean, is it just for fun? Is it just for employers, etc.? What do they need? You know, what do they want? Yeah, you had that. No, I thought you wanted to press the button. No?
Yeah, but maybe it's more of in the IOs than in the section.
Well, maybe if we have done the single over to the general topics, we can move to IO per IO. So should we go by number or should we go by volunteering?
go by number.
Number 2 first.
Actually, I had a comment to Sylvie's question, because we also talked about how to maintain the connection also with the students who are producing the games, or with the teacher for the students producing the games, and we think that we can kind of provide them with new ideas, because a lot of the students already have ideas, but some of them don't, and some of them think it's interesting to kind of work on I don't know the word for on a mission from somewhere else. And so that's, we've been talking about that already for the financial part, but that's kind of only the students kind of production.
And one idea was also to integrate the game in the virtual environment. You know, to put, because it will be more related and more active, and so, and in the virtual environment, in the nature, for example, you can find an object, a game, and play it. It would be a good development. We were thinking last night.
Not the previous game, but
it would be an interactive package, you know, and would be better than to separate the two of the deliverable, and perhaps also to find a guideline through the languages to make it multilingual, or to do the same principle for several languages.
I think on the one hand, we received a lot of feedbacks from the students and from the teachers on potential development of the games and especially the VR environment. So we were also thinking about, well, if you would have some kind of guide within the, but of course it's not something, so the issue is how can you do it, right? Do you need additional funding, or you need additional people? And so the one hand would be try to develop in a more incremental way the things that we have done, with the question mark is to say how. And about the testing, if testing also at least to start using the instruments that we have, I think it would be necessary to have some kind of coordination. So what should be tested first, and what, how, and so on. So it would be like a project, but more on, let's say, on a personal commitment basis. But it should be nevertheless not less coordinated. I mean, should be maybe even more coordinated than in a project, in order to get to some results that are useful both for practices and also for research purposes.
And I would like to add also another idea is to find a way how the students can persist in this way. Because, you know, it's okay, they play one time or 4 times, nice to have, but after they quit this method of learning, and to find a way how they will persist in this methodological approach. So it could be also interesting to searching how can we do it.
Wouldn't it be one way to go to have a pedagogical use the outcomes as pedagogical enhancements? For instance, the badges. I can see how I could use them in, for instance, a specific course, Swedish Language Cultural Society, where I give the students homework to do certain things, to talk to 3 people on the bus, to talk, and then maybe 3 of the students do it. And then they come back and I ask them, and they have done it, and they tell me how it went. If there was a badge connected to it, and then you can kind of build up onto that, I can see that that would be more useful maybe for the students. So it wouldn't need so much development or so much or any resources needed in doing that, more than convincing my university that that's the way to go. And also for the environment, for instance, we could use now that we've invested in so many VR sets.
Yes, that's true.
Expensive ones. And one of my students said, well, not my students, but the MALMO students who were here, she said, well, could we have them like in the library somewhere or something? And I was thinking, since we're all languages, maybe we could have some kind of interaction, something between ourselves, between the universities and the students. So they could either talk to people who learn the same language, or talk to people with the talent kind of thing. Well, and the others as well, so that we can, because I see that all of these outcomes could be very helpful in your one's practice, and not necessarily a demand more resources, but give. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to what you were saying, Teresa, about this interaction and the fact that we could have it through the VR games, etc. So we have a perfect platform for that, because one of the advantage of the database that the DI1 developed that was not so much highlighted is the fact that we can schedule workshops. And that we can also organize and mutualize these workshops, and to schedule those for our students to meet into the VR environment, for example, to coordinate
use between our organization, but maybe to invite other organizations to join, of course. And there is a big potential to add other language because we focused for the moment, because the timetable of the project was so short. It was 2 years, but it was 2 full years, I believe, and we focused on English resources, much more than others. So there is a big potential to develop other languages in the platform, to train other universities to edit resources in it. We had a wonderful presentation in the parallel session about Pisua, Bitable, all resources that could be implemented are teaching sequences also. So we see the potential and the fact that there is so much to be updated in the resource that was developed through the project.
I think I agree with Janissa when she said that there should be more, so I interpret it like this, that there should be more links between the IROs and between the teams, which are two quite different things. Of course, they go together, but it's not exactly the same. And you talked about the badges. I think there is really a huge need to use and to assess the badges, maybe more on the motivational part. And I wanted to suggest that several universities use and assess the badges. And what Teresa said gives me an idea. So you said, in Sweden or in my university, I see how I would use the badges. So why not assess the badges, assess the use of the badges in some universities as we designed them, as we thought them, and at other places, as the colleagues think it could be more useful in their university. I think that could be very useful, and that could be put the teams together.
I was thinking that in terms of connecting the that maybe on the part of learners it would be a good idea to have a control group that goes through the same learning path, starting with applications of teaching sequences that would make them use metacognitive lines, then virtual reality, then badges. So a control group that would bring consistency with the same students from the respective countries following the same steps. And then you have the feedback. We have tried to do something like this for LTPA too, but then there were problems with traffic and some Swedish students, for instance, couldn't make it, and they haven't had access to it. And I was thinking that the control is just an idea about it will give a sense of unity among the VIOs. I'm not exactly sure how it will really work, but the same students get badges, the same students get virtual reality experience, done through the book paper, how we project imaging that's recognition, for instance. You kind of connect them. And on the part of language instructors, also a control group as they do the studies where they simply state an opinion by checking, double checking, because we are so in them right now and we are involved to such a great extent that we might need an observer to control group, but this time instructors. I think that at my university, our university definitely provides students for such a learning path for sure, and they would have a lot to gain if they were given badges for it, and virtual reality experience, and we are so enthusiastic about it. Maybe this would give a sense of unity.
But are you thinking of volunteering? Which students?
And which,
Even if you identify 10 in each university, would it be volunteering? Would it be, in our university we have possibility to join where we can put things more or less open, we can make your own project, and maybe we could say, well, that would give you, I don't know if it exists everywhere. How could we have this group of students in each university?
would it be, I mean, a pedagogical, I'm just trying to picture this, so couldn't we decide, like, apart from my class will get badges, and my class will. And I don't know if that will, maybe my class will get badges, but my colleagues' class won't. Maybe that's
One of my classes and others of one of my classes.
Yeah, exactly, because that's the same pedagogy.
Yeah.
Maybe, so that, because there is a tendency of the students, at least at Swedish universities, the ones that kind of apply for, being an ambassador or being a whatever, are the ones that kind of are keen anyway to do things, and they also tend to get better results. Is my perception. Maybe I'm biased.
Second suggestion. Lots of positions, did you get? Putting the results into perspective, what else can we do to promote students' lifelong and life-wide language learning?
Yeah, so maybe the first step is to make them test this.
Another thing that seems important to me, and maybe it could be interesting for getting fundings. I think it would be interesting to put a stress both on widely spread languages, that's English, and on less wide or other, let's say other languages or smaller languages. It could be very interesting, so yes, it could be very interesting to work with both types of languages, because it's very, very different.
Yes, and we have done this list of all languages that we have, if we gather all our languages, and it could provide us possibilities also to, as you were saying, that to open to internet tandem setting or something that we could open to languages we don't have at home. Yeah. Another thing that I would like to, you said more links between the IOs and between the teams. I think as we were dedicated to our IOs and needed to, progress, we focused on this. Of course, now maybe we have more freedom of time, I mean, to pick up things from all the other IOs and to develop them. So, and just one thing you mentioned about you mentioned something about intercultural topics, intercultural communication. We also have international and there is a part of intercultural topics, and I always thought that this could become a badge. So maybe what I would like to say is that we need to update the resources, and we know that they will soon become obsolete if we don't. The games, including them in the VR setting, is an excellent idea, because it's a way to recycle them and to promote their upgrading. It's the same thing with the badges. Some I'm sure we will discover that some badges will never be used. So, we won't keep them. And maybe we see that some others, like intercultural, is not in the badges, but I think it will soon, because it will become, if we have a project related to, it's not over. And I really, so the question is, as we're saying, I'm ready to test with my students. And then, I mean, maybe this is something we need to do, is to say, okay, I will do this, I will do that. Because of course, when we finish a project, we're all eager to build a major thing, something even bigger. But I think let's be realistic. What are we ready to do next semester, next year? How feasible is it? And even if it's a tiny group of students, as you were saying, but in each university, well, this is already a first step towards, if we want to, a next project, because if we can show that we have already started thinking of it through the project, but also through a first test, it's a good, very good point for the Commission. I participated to a Horizon Europe training. I don't remember, it was a few months ago. They said that there are projects in March, so it's an EIC project, Conseil Européen d'Innovation. It's not Horizon Europe, but they mentioned different types. In March 2024, which is far away, but it's not that far away, because if we can avoid making our project in two weeks, it would be better.
You cannot do Horizons in 2 weeks.
No, not the Horizon, it's much bigger. Maybe EIC, smaller, they say smaller consortium, I don't know why. So, I mean, even if it seems far away, it's not. So, if we don't want to lose the energy, and maybe we should really decide to test, as you were saying. So, how could we do that? Because I don't want you to say, I will do it, and then, then well, I won't because I can't. So, how can we organize that? I mean, technically, pragmatically speaking, how much time you need to say whether you will, or do you already know that you can and you won't? How can we do that to make it efficient and realistic? Don't see the discussions online, so if you see it, I don't know if IO3 also wants to. I don't see there's online. She told me she had there's someone else from IO3 online. Maybe Mercedes? Oh, you can see, you see the quiz. Sorry. Mariana. Maybe prepare a shared Google Excel or whatever, and we put, well, I, as Nick, I will do this with these students. Maybe we can just add some missions.
Or maybe if we have to set a date, not too far away.
Yeah.
In the near future, and I don't know, a couple of weeks, but when we can have a conversation for an hour and a half or something, and until then, we have time to investigate, because I would probably have to ask colleagues and etc. And maybe some head or something.
End of June, that way. I mean, it's when we have to finish the project that we will be in it.
For the 21st. So.
And you,
I don't know what you. I also. I mean, everyone. This period of time is crazy, but
it's always
an hour we can carve out half an hour.
If we wait September, I mean,
no, that's too late. Then everything will be.
Or beginning of July. I mean, the week after the deadline is 30th of June. Is that it?
The absolute deadline. The project is finished in 5 days.
Yeah.
And then, until the 13th, everything should be on the platforms and sent to the Commission, to the agency.
Maybe.
But the last week of June, maybe?
Yeah. Well, unless we are in the final, depends on. But we know we'll do it. So maybe 1st of July, or no, so last week of June, yeah, why not? I mean, for me it's okay, but I don't know. 27, so something in the last week, or
the 20, yeah, 26th. 26th of
well,
June.
I know I have a PhD, unless.
3 or 6, and I have to check.
Yeah, maybe we can make a, but we can decide on some dates. So not before the 27th, because we know we will have many other things to do. Well, 26th, yeah.
Not before 27, and not 26.
26? 26, I can't. So I mean, I'm not.
Not before.
30.
It's in the afternoon, but I don't know.
Friday?
Well, maybe we can. Is beginning of July really too late for you? If it's 3rd of July, very, very beginning of July.
We are, I'm not
It's
really
not
working.
possible.
Impossible.
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 The 22nd
Yeah,
Of June.
of June. Yeah.
because we don't need it to be very long. I mean, we know we have plenty of things to do. Okay, maybe I'll suggest 3 or 4 dates and we decide among us. Okay. 22nd, 26th, 27th.
22nd, 26th, and maybe 30th in the afternoon. 30.
It's the third.
So this would be to decide on how we are going to test. I think the topic will be how are we going to test these resources next semester? What can we do, pragmatically speaking? Is that the question? Is that clear?
I think so. I understand it.
But this is the question you wanted me to ask?
So, yeah, so the question is kind of going home, discussing with colleagues and yourself in doing an inventory of what would you like to, how would you like to use it? Because
it would be who, which students, how many?
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah, maybe that.
How many, I mean, 10 or all of them?
Or more of what would I like to, because all of these resources are so resourceful, and I really feel that I would like to use them. So, and kind of, how could that be
Maybe we
done?
could do a teacher training session. I mean, now that we're ready, I mean,
Yeah.
we can
Maybe
do an
something
online seminar. in September.
Maybe we could next term, we could have a workshop with teachers and coming with the teachers also.
And even those who are not from our consortium who would like to.
Yeah,
use
to have the
resources which are open.
teachers workshopping their way into how to use the tools and doing it together. Let them do the work.
Yeah.
And then we can be free in the end of June. No, let's do.
I think we can use the June session.
For each institution to check previously, for example, the capacity to be issuer on platforms as Open Batch Factory, we want to go as these tests, because that's not a teacher as individual that's registered to be issuer on this kind of platform. That's the university that's certified. So it could be great to know how to go about it before this conversation, if it is possible. If not, there is other platform, more renowned platform as EUROPAUNIVERSITAT, for example. So each one knows about their own policy, their possibilities and opportunities.
I think what can be tested for sure, I mean, if we have VR goggles or whatever headsets, it can be tested.
All the rest can be tested. It's just the final open batch. We're not sure, but all the rest. So I think we shouldn't prevent from testing just because we're not sure about the final one. I mean, so maybe we can keep this last item saying would be willing to test if my institution would, and the rest is just would be willing to test because it's a pedagogical tool, but I'm free to use it as I want. And I have and maybe I could prepare a small questionnaire that you could validate. Who would be in our colleagues? It's not just us. I mean, if we want the thing to survive, it's not just us who should be testing also. So maybe we will identify one or two colleagues who would be interested. So I'll try to prepare not a too long questionnaire, but just to, and we'll share it so that you can have questions to know what needs to be.
And do you have already the indication of the call for this EIC? Because
Well,
if this, let's say, it's an opportunity, I would need, or we would need to talk also to other parts of our university, and but I need to know.
because what they call an appel blanc, I don't know how we call that in English, no, with no topic. To accelerate the development of emerging technologies for projects who have a high potential of innovation. Innovation de rupture, I don't know how you say that in English. But this is going to be much more radical.
But because what I've heard, but the deadline was, no, it's the end of May now, was also for a kick on creativity, as creative things I need to find out.
Yeah.
And they will have something, and also with teaching, I think, they will have something, or some openings in the next period, so we can take a look at this. It's still IC, but it's some kind of a project of the EIC that, and the issue of calls on specific issues. But I have to take a look at this.
They also mentioned the EIE, which is Ecosystem Européen d'Innovation. That should be with a strong transversality, complementary, and synergy between programs, between private funds and regions and so on. Well, we need to, I mean, I'm not into this project, so maybe we can also, if we hear about the project, maybe I will add this to the question for end of June, but for the future, if we hear about the project.
That what it's good that is going would be the following follow up, let's say, of the strategic partnerships, the cooperation partnerships. We are not having good experiences in the regulation at the moment, but it may be that it will adjust one way or the other.
Yeah, when you're mentioning creativity, was it for the Horizon Europe? Because I see that culture, creativity, and society.
This EIC, they provided money for so-called KICs, and there is one KIC, which is a network, a European network, that's specialized in creativity and creative industries and so on. And they have different paths, but the open call is the next deadline is in the end of May, so it would be possible. But
you have to be doing the weekend.
Yeah, no, it's not too long. I mean, the application is not too long, and I think in any case we would need to develop connections with the industry, and so it's not only the university.
Yeah, I think we need. This is a second step, maybe the first one being that at least to use what we have produced, and then to promote what we have produced and continue the development of the project once we have identified the challenges. I don't see if there's anyone online want to.
I mean, what we also thought would is also to use, in our case, the virtual environment and also the games for, let's say, general occasions where students like the open days, for instance, where you can make publicity for the. So this is has nothing to do, let's say, with research, but it's some kind of marketing device for the own departments. Of course, you can make a small test after they tried it, but it would be a different function, let's say. So we could use them.
I think from what you said, something easy that we could already decide to launch is what you were saying, an exchange of practice, teacher training and practice, feedback on practice, and we could decide, I don't know what you think, once a month, we have this, I mean, comes who can come, but would that be feasible, I think, to have an online sort of, not the same, but a kind of exchange of practice on our resources. So we can go with our questions, with our feedback, something informal that keeps the yeah. Okay, so we can decide when we launch the first one, end of September, because we need time to start the year, or beginning of September, because we will have loads of questions before launching it. Mid-September.
I think mid-September for us. I don't know how you, but it would be a bit better. The university year starts in October.
Okay. So at the end of September or very beginning of October. Let's wait for
Mid-September sounds great.
Mid-September. Okay.
For us, but we can obviously adapt over time.
Yeah, but first, I mean, you know, come with your questions, because we know there will be questions. And the IO leaders or the IO teams, whoever, because we're not just the leaders and experts, everyone who is willing to share, to answer these questions. Okay, so mid-September first, how should we call that?
So we don't have the ones in
no,
June.
end of June to know what we will be doing, but mid-September we really, okay, now we're putting into practice, and here are our questions. Because like this, it seems easy, but we know when we will, you know, starting, we'll have loads of questions. So, of course, we can treat the questions one by one, but I think it would be good to have, it doesn't need to be very long. I mean, how long? Maybe 1 hour, 1 hour and a half?
1.5 hours.
Yeah.
And then you stay as long as you can.
Yeah.
If you can't.
But let's plan it for 1.5 hours, mid-September. Let me check mid-September. Does it mean 18th or does it mean 14th, 15th? Is there a better day? We used to have our meetings on Fridays, and does it mean that it's a good day in the week, Friday?
Friday.
Sort of Friday early afternoon?
15th of September.
15th of September? Right. 15th of September at 2 o'clock. Paris time, is that okay? It's 3 o'clock? That's okay? Yeah, or it can be 1:30, and if for you it's better to be okay.
So it's 3 o'clock here because now I'm doing fine.
Would be 3 o'clock, okay?
No, 3 o'clock here.
Yeah.
3 here, 2 in.
2 in.
Oh, but you want Paris.
Because then it's late for the.
4
But it's mid-afternoon. I mean, if we need to have another meeting afterwards, or we postpone it to have, if we need to have another. I don't know. 3 o'clock. We can't have the previous meeting now.
At the end of the morning.
No. In the morning, I don't know. Usually the administrative. I mean, myself is okay. The administrative meetings are usually in the morning. Any preference?
No, it's 3.
So morning.
11?
11.
11 in the morning.
11, but we it's 12, so maybe it's not.
I mean, we know in advance, so we should be able to.
Or 10:30.
10:30.
10:30?
10:30 and 11:30. Yes.
10:30 to 12. So, yeah, time, Paris time, so which will be at 11:30.
Yeah.
Okay, 15th of September. Hopefully, we won't have to change that. So this would be for our first questions, and how could we call that?
Pedagogical Q&A.
Sorry?
Pedagogical Q&A.
Q&A.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I think it's
That for you, Q&A.
pedagogical.
And about the meeting at the end of June, I'm thinking that apart from the Google Doc, it would be interesting to have all of us in the meeting just to see what the ideas are.
So do you think we need to put our, to know who is interested, you mean?
I need to find out what the other partners think. I think that in a discussion, we would probably would be more clear.
But can we use the Live for You mailing list then? I mean, who would be forgotten in this mailing list? I've never known who is behind this.
I
I don't know who gets the messages, who doesn't.
I don't think, I'm not sure that's the problem. The problem seems to be that everybody who's ever had contact with the project gets the email. That's, I mean.
Well, maybe we can do a Google for everyone who wants to continue receiving.
And everyone that has worked within the IOs.
Yeah, we can add everyone, and then who doesn't want to be, maybe it's better this way. We involve everyone, and those who don't want anymore to receive it in case of.
Yeah.
We can decide. Last one.
Someone wrote something.
Oh, so are you calling to the meeting, Nick?
Am I?
Are you organizing the meeting?
Yeah, well, I will, so end of June, we haven't decided on the day. We need to have, we need to decide on between the
I
4
think
days.
we were all available on the 30th. Yes, 30th of June.
That's a bit difficult for me.
I thought you.
But, I mean, that's in option.
It's not easy for me either,
Well,
because I'm on a congress. I mean, I'm not speaking at that time, so I can sort of escape and hide.
Which date?
The 30th.
Yeah, yeah.
But I know I'm presenting on the 29th. So 29th I cannot, 28th. 28th, did you mention that date?
So 28th is not possible. 26th.
26th, I have the program of the PhD in the afternoon. So. And I have to go. It's not in the evening.
Okay. 22nd.
Yeah, we had said 22nd. Oh, we back from Sweden? Yeah, we are. But you're not on holiday? 22nd? 22nd?
No, the 22nd I'm not.
Okay, 22nd? Let's make it 22nd.
The 22nd
Of June for our first meeting.
That's on a Friday.
Yeah.
Thursday.
The 22nd is a Thursday. At what time? In the morning, in the afternoon? 10:30 maybe at the time?
10:30, 10:30,
End of June, so 22nd of June, so no Google now, it's 22nd of June, 10:30 is Paris time. And maybe a shared document to say if we know in advance. Yeah. And then, so we have agreed on 2 dates, end of June, 22nd, to have some feedback on who would be willing to test and who will and where and how. And mid-September, 15th of September, 10:30 again, for pedagogical time for you Q&A, questions and answers, so that we, as we are in the process of implementing, we will have really direct questions. And then we can decide that the next one is in October. We know that we decide on the date now. But I think a monthly meeting is not, maybe is it too much? At the beginning, no. I think in then it can become every 2 months.
Yes, and if we want to prepare a project,
then
we have really
yeah. So let's make it a monthly meeting.
Yeah.
And we'll see if it's
so. For example,
we
can say something like the third Friday each month is there for you. Be there for you. QA.
Post like for you, like the one we answered the post. No, it's post like for you meeting. So 15th of October, no, 15th of September. So then that will be.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. Would it be rather 13th of October? It would be the second Friday of each month.
Second is okay.
Or the third, it depends.
Sorry, wait.
I'm already deciding on the second meeting. I'm enthusiastic.
So, second,
13th or 20th. You already know what is not possible, but I don't know. 13th or 20th. October.
The 20th of October is on a Saturday.
Is it?
No.
No? We know it's Friday.
I would say 20. So second or third.
20th? No.
Yeah.
For the moment, let's make it 20th.
And then we will change.
Yeah. And same time? Or do we need to change time so that maybe some other people join if they cannot, they never can in the morning? Oh, well, maybe we decide the time.
I think, yeah, the best thing, if we want people to come who are not available, or in general not available, it would be better to have 3 days in advance.
Yeah.
So that people can try and find a solution.
Okay. At the moment, we have 3 days: 22nd of June, 15th of September, 20th of October, and maybe in September we decide on the 2 next days.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Are you going to write an email?
Yeah. I will write to the guide for you. But do you get the guide for your messages? Yeah. Okay.
The only thing I don't get is emails from MRU. That's a joke.
So what time on the 20th of October?
So we do the same time? Is that okay? I'm in doubt about this because I know it's better if it's regular, but if someone never can this time, then maybe you tell us. You know, I'm sorry, in May we decided 10:30, but it will never do because I have no choice. Keep the day.
So I don't mean to give any other homework, but it would be nice for the directory website, maybe just a bit of a statement on the IO completion, what has happened.
Well, I would like a lot to be here, because I have, I don't know, I haven't had time to check the events for an hour on the present side. I had asked that to be done. I'm not doing it. But I know we need to find a way to have our website and then anyway, it needs to be done for the